Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a walkthrough through the 2 game modes for Hyperdash Alpha 3 at the moment. So if you're already familiar with the weapons and the mechanics and everything, you're just curious more about Payload, you want some tips for that, you can always skip forward. I'll put the time in the comment section or the detail section. You can skip forward to that. When you first boot up the game or start up the game, you're in the lobby here, which is pretty cool. Just look around a little bit. I'm going to try to limit my head movement a little bit, just so I don't cause too much motion sickness for you guys. But you have the news on the right hand side. They tell you what's new in Alpha 3. The first thing you want to do before you jump into a game is go into options, just press the trigger button, or A. I believe A will do it, yeah. A or the trigger. Player name, you can just, normally it's blanked out, which gives you, there's a bunch of people just with the name of player playing currently that are new. Put anything here. Sound. A lot of people bring down the music just because it is pretty loud and it's hard to hear people. So if I put the voice setting all the way up, music somewhat down, and then normally I have master up to hear, but I'm bringing it down some just so my voice recording is a little bit more clear. You have controls down here. Smooth turning is helpful versus snap turning. Make it as fast as you can with stand, basically. So I have mine. I usually don't actually use the right stick for turning. I'm just turning around in real life. But if you're stuck in one place and you use the right stick, then use whatever speed for turning you want. And then weapon angle, it's currently at 31, which I'm used to playing it that way, but you can play around with that angle and see what feels best for you. Okay, make sure you get your name in there. And we're going to start with a game of Domination here. So just select the lobby you want and hit join. You can have up to 10 players, 5 versus 5. And if nobody else is playing, usually a bot will fill in. So this is the start of the game. You have 2 pistols to start with. I shouldn't say this is a start, but this is where everybody is joining in before the game starts. So to actually start the game at any point, either side can press this button.
Match starts in 3, 2.
So this is a spawn point in Domination, and both sides have an identical spawn point on opposite sides of the map with a central point that you're trying to capture. You're actually trying to capture all 3 points in Domination for 5 seconds, which is more like 10 with as slow as she counts, but you have to hold them for 10 seconds to win the round. And it's the first one to win 3 rounds. The first team that wins 3 rounds wins the match. So you can move forward. It's very slow locomotion, but you can use your left thumbstick to move forward. So you're actually walking. And then you can either use A or X to dash. So you can hold it down and decide where you want to dash or jump, whatever word you want to use. But so we're going to just show all the weapons here. There's a gun here. You always start out with 2 pistols, which are pretty good. Some of these weapons you can hold down the trigger for a secondary type of shot. So if you hold down the pistols and they're charged, you let go and you get these powerful ricochet shots. Or you can just shoot like this. And then once your clip's empty, it reloads automatically. Or you can press B or Y, the upper buttons there, to reload at any point. So every time you respawn, you start off with your pistols, and then you can grab whatever guns you want. So if you want this gun, this is a speed loading gun. So it only has 8 bullets, but it reloads really fast. These power-ups, or these weapon spawns, will respawn every 10 seconds. But normally you want to go to a different place. You don't want to wait for both weapons. And you can hold 2 different weapons as well. So up here, this is a rocket launcher. So you can have your machine gun in the right hand and a rocket launcher in the left hand. The rocket launcher also has this little gun does not have a secondary shot. So if you hold down the trigger, it's not going to do anything special. But you can keep it held down and it'll just keep shooting like that. But the rocket launcher is pretty cool. If you hold it down, whoa, I almost killed myself there. But if you hold it down, you'll see a little red dot, and you can kind of point it where you want it to go. So I'm going to try to get it to go past that column and shoot off to the left here. So you can do some pretty fun things. You can aim it up and then aim it over and then bring it back down. I'm probably going to kill myself. No, that was close. Okay, so that's the rocket launcher. You can have 2 of these, which are pretty powerful.
Red team captures point.
So I'm using my locomotion to move right now. You start off with 3 dashes. If you look at your left wrist, you have your health meter, 3 dashes in blue, and then in Domination it tells you who's controlling what points right now and what the score is. So if you go up here to this blue power-up, you'll go from 3 dashes to 5. So every time you start out, though, you start out with only 3. If you get one of those, you'll go to 5. It's not going to refill your dash meter any faster. You just have to wait for it to power back up. So once you have it, no need to keep grabbing it. Whoops, I'm going to dash out of the way there. And now my health is very low. It says damage critical. This is your health. So now I'm back up to full. So I'm going to walk around this corner. Rocket launchers are really fun, but they do take a long time to reload, so you have to be careful with your shot selection and not getting stuck with getting shot back with nothing to kill the other team with. So there's another power-up right here. Oops, I'm getting shot. These bots are getting smarter. They just added the ability for the bots to dash on the rails, so that's the next thing we'll check out here. There's another gun type up here. This is, I think they call this the SMG. And you have 25 bullets in this. Shoots really fast, reloads pretty slow, but 2 of them are pretty fun. You can shoot pretty far with them, pretty accurately. So now that we died, we're back down to 3 power-ups. We're going to get our 5 again. And you can dash really fast, as fast as you can press the button, basically. If you hold this sideways, you can go from here, 1, 2, 3, all the way across and back. I'll show you how fast it actually charges. Now we're dashing on the rail. Okay, so the rails are the next thing. When you want to get on the rail in a certain direction, you're kind of just looking in that direction. So you hold your dash A or X down, and you'll start dashing. This was the thing that gave me the most problems when I first started as far as motion sickness. So if it helps when you're on the rail, you can crouch down. That seemed to help me some. So the rail's in the center point.
Red team scores in
I'm going to get over to the
4, 3,
center point.
2, 1. Red team.
Okay, so the bots won that for me.
Round.
I wasn't actually trying to win it, just trying to show off the weapons and stuff. So, all right, so the round's over. We have 1 point, and we're going to everybody regroups,
Match
starts
in
fresh.
3, 2, 1, go.
I'm going to get to that center point just to show off some of the dashing.
Blue team captures point C.
So you can go pretty high. From down here, you can actually dash up there if you hold your controller upside down. And now you're dashing. Move out of the way. You can dash up here and dash and get health. I'm going to move out of the way before they kill me. You can keep your trigger held down the whole time too while you're dashing.
Blue team captures point B.
You get a headshot with the triggers held down. It's really strong. Okay, so now that I've got some backup here from the red bots, so we'll start dashing here. If you want to go the other way, just on the rail, you can point the other way. So you can go back and forth. You can start on one rail and go to the other.
Red team captures point B.
Dash up here. While I'm up here, let me show you another gun. This is the one they just added, the sniper pistol. I don't think you can actually see the little aiming mechanism, but if you close one eye, there's a green crosshairs basically that lets you aim. So I'm gonna try to shoot from up here, and it's an instant shot, so it's pretty strong. The only problem is it has 6 bullets and a slow reload time, but as far as the power, it's a really quick kill. 1 headshot for the death, 2 to the body will do it. Okay. The only other gun I think is the shotgun. So we're gonna dash down here and dash into here. This is the shotgun. You can hold 2 of them. Again, you can hold any 2 different weapons. We're gonna grab one more. So the shotgun is, a scatter shot. 2 bullets, reloads fast. So if you're not great with your aim, this can be good. You can dash up on somebody quickly. These bots are pretty good as far as their aim goes. Okay, we respawned. The only other thing, we haven't talked about the shields yet. So when you're first starting out, these shields can be helpful. You can grab in either hand, usually a machine gun and a shield, or a pistol and a shield can be helpful. Only problem is they're so small that you can aim for the feet, or if you're holding like this, you can aim for the head, and you still die pretty fast. These power-ups, I think I mentioned it, but they recharge or replenish every 10 seconds. So any weapon that was grabbed, any health that was grabbed, or any dash power-up that was grabbed will be back after 10 seconds.
Blue team captures point B.
Yeah, that didn't help very much there. But I'm pretty tall and I was exposed a bunch. So that's the gist of Domination. Once you get the 3rd point, anybody that hasn't currently been respawned as far as the opponents go. So once our team gets all 3 points, if you kill any of the opponents, they will not respawn as long as you hold all 3 points. So as of now, that's the rule. They're probably going to change it again, just because some of these matches last so long.
B.
Okay. I don't know if I'll get a chance to show you capturing all the points at once, but we'll see. I might just edit out some of this here. And there's multiple ways into each base, or into each side. You can go down here too, if the top is a little crowded. Definitely need health here, so grab that on your way in.
Red team scores
run.
in 5, 4,
We'll see if the bots hit the
2,
control point.
1.
Okay. So
Red
anybody
team
that
wins
was
this
killed on the blue
round.
side while all 3 buttons were controlled would not respawn. So that's one way that they are trying to shorten these domination matches.
Match starts.
Can't think of
in
anything
3,
else
2.
at the
1.
moment, so we're going to
Match
switch over
point.
to Payload.
Blue team captures point C.
One thing I forgot to
Match
mention
starts in 3,
before we switch over to Payload
1.
is you can
Match
control
point.
your mic right here. You can mute yourself. And you can also mute
Red
other
team
players.
captures point
You know, if
A.
the Quest has an issue with a lot of static, I'm not sure
Blue
if they can
team
fix that or not, but
captures point B.
if somebody has a lot of
First
static or you just don't want to
elimination.
hear people, you can
Red
mute them
team
just by
captures
pointing there,
point B.
and they'll be
4,
muted for the
3,
game.
countered.
So you can mute yourself right there and mute other players by clicking on that. All right, now we're going to move on to Payload. Okay, so now we're going to do some Payload. We're not going to go over the guns or anything, just some basics that I didn't know when I first started out, and some tips that might help. So let's go in here. Usually I try to pick the one with the lowest ping, or these days actually you pick the one that actually has players. So, you know, normally I'd be playing Domination, but we're going to go into Payload, US East, join. Payload has 2 rounds. One round, you're trying to get the payload across the map,
Prepare to start.
and the other round, you're trying to stop it from getting across the map. When you're red, you're trying to stop it. You start spawning just past the checkpoint, and you have 30 seconds to get set up to get across to the starting point where the blue team is. And they're going to be getting out with the payload. So
Match starts in 3, 2.
here's where the blue team comes out. That's the payload right there, that train.
Elimination.
They have 6 minutes to get from starting point to the checkpoint. So that's the first objective, is to stop them, as the red team, stop them from getting to the checkpoint. If they get there, then I believe they have 7 or 8 minutes to get to the end, or maybe up to 10. The payload only moves when they're standing on it. When the blue team's standing on it, it will move. But if you're standing on it with them, it will not. So that's one tip. A lot of times with Payload, if you hit the menu button, you'll get at any point during the game with on your left controller, you can see the teams and the kills and the deaths and all that stuff. Normally, you want to have, if it's uneven, you'd rather have the blue team have an extra person, because since they have to always have somebody on the payload, they're sitting ducks basically. So it's kind of uneven or unfair for them to have less players than red, less human players than red. Bots can be really helpful on the blue team, because now they'll rail slide right onto the payload and keep it moving. But if the bots are on the red team, they run right into it. Now you can run right into the payload and you die, so don't do that. That's something I did the first time I played. And these bots will probably do it, which is kind of entertaining. Hopefully they stop, or they fix that next time. Oh, hey. I actually dashed off, which is good. their aim is, it's pretty insane. Spots have. Once they actually see you, it's good. If you're sitting still. Whoops. So that spot right there is the checkpoint on the orange payload map. If they get here, that little triangle shows how far the payload is on the map. So if they get to this spot, then their spawn moves up to here, and red spawn moves all the way to the end of the map where they're finally trying to reach with the payload. So I'll show where that is real quick. Currently that's red spawn right there. But if they get the payload to the checkpoint, which they're pretty close, then red has to start all the way back here. Every time you respawn, you come out from up there and you have to get down to here.
Checkpoint.
So they have 9 minutes from the time of from the checkpoint to get to the end. So, oops. And like I said, if you jump on a rail going the wrong way, you didn't mean to, you can just go the other direction like that. Okay, so I guess I could have just died to show you guys how far back you have to start. The nice thing about these maps is there's multiple ways of getting, they have tubes going with rails. You don't have to go one specific way. You can go up here and cut through. Might want to grab this dash while you're over here. Don't forget you can reload at any point with B or Y. So they're respawning down here now. Let's see. I don't think there's much else to show here as far as payload goes. Just stay on it to keep it moving. And if you're the red team and you need a last second win, you can always stay on it. And as long as they're not on it, or as long as they don't kill you, it won't move. You can also crouch and walk at the same time, or slide at the same time. We're going to go back up here. The shields could be helpful when you're the blue team, just to give you a little extra protection, but they don't help against, I don't believe they help against rockets, so, if it's just guns that you're facing and you want to crouch down, you can do that. Oops. Shot me right through there, so. You want to be smart with your dashes. It's slow to walk, but you don't want to be stuck in a gunfight and not be able to just have 1 or 2 dashes to try to move around quickly. You get health over here. It's It's a good idea just to explore the map with bots when you're playing against bots, just to kind of get a feel for where everything is. They have been changing where everything is with each alpha, so you have to kind of relearn everything. But part of that too is because of the new weapons that they're adding. The ricochet shots. If you're lucky, you might hit them. Alright, I'm going to wrap this up so it's not too long. Or any longer, at least. But this is what I was talking about as far as doing a little bit of defense. So, they're down to 4.5 minutes. The closer they get to the spawns, you know, when they get close to the checkpoint in the beginning, that's where your original spawn is close to. It's really hard to get past that when you're on the blue team. And then when you're on the blue team and you get into this area where red is constantly respawning, it's really tough. And then there's also Payload, the blue map. Everything as far as the rules are the same, but just a different map. So that one's fun too. Not sure which one I like more, probably this one. Alright, I'm going to wrap it up. Hopefully see you guys on the game. Thanks for watching. I'm going to show a little bit of the blue side actually. One tip is you don't have to jump on here, you can just stay, if you're rail sliding, it'll just put you right onto the ship. So let's see if I can avoid these guys. Just a minute. Long enough to win. There we go. Get a little celebration.
Blue team wins.
And then you switch sides. So blue team goes to red and red goes to blue.
Switching sides. Prepare to start.
Alright, say hi in the Discord. Hopefully see you in the game. Thanks to Triangle Factory